any longer. We're going to go straight into it. And one thing that's worth noting too with the Skyfoxes, and before we get into NRG and their changes, Redsea is still a very good Zarya. He's known for his hit scan play, but his off-tank play also quite good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Redsea has been overlooked a lot in the past, and I'm really interested to see what he can bring to the table here for this NRG Esports team. And here they're going to be rolling out on the right side, and a pretty standard goats v goats looking at each other's shield setup.
Well, you take a look at what NRG is coming in with here. That is one man to watch out for. Smex, of course, very good in Overwatch World Cup this year. And already we're into it. Izar, though, picked off. NRG out-rotated a little bit early on, but now it's a little bit more back and forth. Kevster trying to even it back up here, but it's Zombs for the Skyfoxes, still in control on the Diva, and the Skyfoxes are going to get the better of this fight.
Yeah, absolutely, and once again, they're just going to be cleaning up these frags here on Byram. Pretty much on the point. It looks like Kevster also trying to go for a little delay. Actually, just caught on the lip, and jumps up off of it. That's a little bit of verticality right there for the Zarya, but right there, losing Ezire so early that's bad. That's bad, CP, and it's not what you want out of the fight for, it's really just not what you want out of the fight in general for NRG.
What we talked a lot about yesterday is that, look, the two things you don't want to lose early, don't lose the Reinhardt, don't lose the Brigida. If you lose any of these shield monsters, well, you're probably done.
Yeah, absolutely. You need that frontline presence, and you need that sustain. Right now, they're just going to be setting up here on the point again, looking for another engage.
See stand one right now. New tank here, the NRG, holding onto the Shatter, replacing, of course, Swan, who has been picked up. Stand. Moving in, just going to get pinned to the back, and already in trouble. Drops the Shatter under pressure, knocks down two. Still could be winnable, but he ends up falling. Now the grab going to be invested as well from NRG, looking to make a good situation out of bad. They use a lot of power here, and they are going to start turning it back.
And that was actually a really good engage for NRG. Ezire still managed to survive, and a great Shatter from Remix, though, bringing him down, but a solid beat from Halo.
Remix here on the point. Redsea going to go down, it's not enough. They weren't in a situation to take advantage of that Shatter. They threw it in a desperation move to take control of the fight, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. And right there we see again sort of that concept of the bunny hopping of support ults. And we saw it right there with Halo dropping that beat very late to keep Ezire alive when he was so close to being dropped in the fight previously, despite dropping Rally as well.
So NRG right now, a chance to get some progress here on the board. Skyfoxes, though, they're coming in with power.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely have that grab Diva Bomb combo. They should be looking to set it up. In fact, they should only look to use grab, in my opinion, here, since there are no support ults on the field at all for NRG.
So we look for now the Redsea. Redsea again, drop the grab early on, getting a few takers here. Smex, though, gonna find King. It was Kevster who dropped the grab on the other side, and I think Redsea's grab might have gotten eaten there, as NRG is able to turn it right back around. That's what happens when you have a grab and the other team gets nothing.
Yeah, that was a really, really good exchange there for NRG. That's what they wanted out of that fight, and it's really not what Skyfoxes wanted at all. But they will be able to, they have plenty of chances to bring it back, so they're going to have both support ults, and I really would like to see them try to use this beat aggressively and maybe force a trance out of NRG.
And think about it here for NRG, you're going to get to see more grabs eaten than other teams because Smex is that good. One of the premier off-tanks here in Contenders. Now the Transcendent's going to be used from Skyfoxes. Highly aggressive engage, moving in. You see them going to the left side, but NRG was just able to retreat. Now, they had to use a Transcendence of their own, so it's going to be a wash on both sides. But so far, NRG not worse for the wear. And Stan going to drop the Shatter. And that's just the course of power. You have a Brigida go in, you set it up, you deal with the other tank.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're just going to be chasing them here in this left corner. They're trying to get those late frags, try to get those staggers, and throwing in a Diva Bomb trying to get late. And it does, Smex does get a lot of good value out of that. And what we saw there is, we talked about it earlier, Verbo used that beat very reactively to keep his team alive in the Shatter, but really, beat is a much better proactive ult because you just won't survive all that damage in goats.
I think it's one of those things where you just hope that you're able to turn it around. It just doesn't work. And now, at 91%, NRG is going to be a lot more aggressive here. They don't want them to touch a point again. Off the grab, they get two immediate pickoffs, and that should be it. 97%, even if someone has snuck around that we don't see, which they have.
It's Verbo.
Verbo's gotten back. It's still going to be very hard to turn this fight because you're going to be staggering in all the while.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, I find it very unlikely that they're going to be able to turn the fight around. Verbo's going down. Here comes the rest of Skyfoxes, sort of trickling onto the point, and a trance out from Snow. But I really think they're just going to be able to clean this up with all this ult economy and all this presence.
Yeah, and you take a look at NRG right now. It's cleanup, right? This is not a situation where if your Skyfox is really expecting it to turn back around. But speaking of turning around and thinking about the flow of this game here, I feel like we just have to go back to that Zarya v Zarya interchange where Smex was able to put his team on top.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Zarya interplay there, like you said, is so important in these GOAT setups. And really, Smex just came out on top when he needed to. But really, also what I like to touch on again is the support ults. When you have that advantage, you need to be using it aggressively, proactively, rather than reactively, because you just put yourself in a bad situation.
Right, it's a case where you want to make sure that you are going in with top-tier advantage, whereas if they've already gotten such a good initiation on you that you have to use a support ult in reaction, you're just bringing yourself back up to 0. You're not actually giving yourself that extra edge.
Yeah, absolutely. And here comes both sides rolling out to this mid, and it looks like, again, once again, we have a mirror matchup here, so really what we've seen in the past, we're going to look at this health and this cooldown usage to see what they can get.
Got Stan going in here. Reinhardt v Reinhardt early on. Heavy damage to Remix. Remix just can't sustain. NRG with way more pressure there. And what made that happen?
That was definitely due to the fact that they were able to get that Zarya bubble out early from Skyfoxes. Rezi dropped it, trying to keep Remix alive, and he got a lot of energy out of it, but he didn't have it up for the bash. And then Remix just sort of evaporated.
Do you think when you have DPS players go Zarya that they go more for the high energy plays versus the saving teammate plays?
I think it is definitely something we've been seeing more, but here we see Skyfoxes approaching the point, trying to get all the point pressure and bring them to them.
So we're going to see NRG rotate back over. Heavy pressure now onto Zombs. You want to get rid of the tanks early. Verbo off the map. Hello, I'm Halo. Saying hello in the most personal way. Just throw people off the edge. Works out for NRG. They're going to keep control.
Okay, Gravity is the #1 MVP in that fight. Gravity won it for them because there were so many boops off the edge there. Skyfox is just continually dropping into the abyss, and really that was really great play from Smex and Hello, I'm Halo.
Now, let me ask you this. As we look at here, we've seen NRG get better initiations. What do you think's driving it?
I mean, aggression. I think aggression and proper cooldown usage, trying to make Skyfoxes play reactively rather than, like I said, proactively. That's the key. That's the key in GOATs.
So we're going to see NRG, again, to your point, be aggressive. Early transcends, they move on in, but they're not really able to get what they're looking for. Stan says, I don't really want to drop the hammer here. I'm going to wait for things to develop a little bit more. Now we're going to see the transcends out from Skyfoxes as they try and burst through, but it's not happening. Smax lays down the bomb, picks up 2, and NRG now about 2 fights away from a very clean map 1 victory.
And that was potentially looking kind of grim for NRG Esports because they were getting the slow-mo shadow out for stand 1, but he hit it really late and hit a fantastic combo with Smex, and, you know, that's pretty much the best you can ask for in that.
Skyfox is now down to what could be their final opportunity. Stan, though, ends up being a little bit far out, punished by Remix, and now you have a 6v5, but it's not just a 6v5, it's a 6v5 where you're missing the Ryan on the other team. How do you fight this back?
Pretty much we're going to have to see a really, really good grab out of Kevster here, but I find it very unlikely that's going to happen because the Ryan just gives you so much frontline presence, and he's such a big fragger. They're just going to be trying to delay, trying to get Stan 1 back in the fight, but this point is definitely Skyfoxes.
Well, the other thing here, too, is that you have money in the bank with the grab, right? And you look at the overall situation. Why would you need to use the grab there? You have so many fights to turn this back around.
Yeah, absolutely not. They shouldn't have dropped it for any reason. That was pretty much the only way that they would be able to turn it. And they're pretty much going to be looking for the approach now, using their ult bank, and they have the time for them. NRG has the time bank for working for them here.
Skyfox is going to have to be perfect from this point forward. We're going to see them coming in from the side, going back onto the point. Grab going to be dropped here by Rutzy, this time connecting. Self-destruct, going right on in, doesn't get anything. Stan, though, is out of the fight. Transcendence going to be invested. So Skyfox is very all in on this fight, and here's the important part. You look at NRG, NRG wasn't really investing too much into this.
No, they really didn't. They used that trance very effectively to pretty much force out the opposing trance, and even the beat from Verbo, who has gone off the map, and that's exactly what they want. Now they can use their ult bank to force a very heavy fight. They can pretty much just brawl effectively and win.
You take a look at on the Skyfox's side, and when you're up against that much power, this is where your Reinhardt needs to have a ridiculous play. That's the way you get yourself out of a hole. NRG, they're going to start speeding in. Rally's going to be up here. Earthshatter coming in, but you take a look at it, it hasn't affected the fight that much. And that was one thing they needed. King now gone. Skyfox is going to have to try and without Brigida, win without a whole lot on their side. Grab going to be dropped by Kevster. Both main tanks in, and that is going to be enough. NRG going to cruise onto the point, and that should be the map victory for them.
Yeah, absolutely. That is just a tale of 2 ults. They were just able to get way more ult value. And I know I've said it again and again and again in the past, but value, ult value is so important in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. And I gotta say here, when you think about a tank-centric meta, right, what is driving what's going well for teams and how are teams doing well, I do wonder how much the veteran presence of Smex is just driving this right now for NRG, because you think back to recent history, right, where, you know, sorry, fans of Team USA, look, I was there too. It hurts me to bring it up, but you think about how—
Does it hurt you, though?
Yes, it actually does.
Okay.
Look, I took a little bit of a hit for a prediction. I had faith in them because they were doing well before, and then it didn't pan out. But part of the reason why it didn't pan out is Smex. Smex was a big part of that combination going in, and look, I mean, you see a lot of it here where man's going to eat grabs, man's going to set up his team, and it just worked out very well for NRG.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Smex has been a very standout portion for NRG for a very long time now. And he's just a very solid diva player, off-tank player in general. He's very flexible. And they can definitely work around Smex. They can work around his veteran ability. And really, I expect him to continue to pop off, really, for NRG.
And also, I think for NRG, it's impressive as well because, look, they've made roster changes. They lost their main tank. Losing your main tank is one thing in Overwatch that it can be very hard to recover from because it is such a vital role. Obviously, Swan used to be in that role, the player formerly known as Butcher, now off to the Florida Mayhem. And Stand 1, decent stand-in,
I think he's actually had a pretty good standings, as they would say. That was the slow-mo shatter that we saw earlier. I mean, realistically, I think Skyfoxes should have been better at outplaying that in that particular moment, but it's so unexpected when you see the Reinhardt jump 300 feet into the air and then come back down and just sort of ground pound you.
Look, it's one of those things where when you really want to style on people, when you got to go for the slam dunk, you need a little bit of air Rhine time, got to go for it. But now, of course, we're going to be heading into our second map. It's going to be hybrid, and I'm curious to see just what is going to be heading at us here between these two teams and really how Skyfoxes are going to turn this around because this is a roster that has a lot of talent on it. People are expecting a lot from the Skyfoxes squad.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of untapped potential with the Skyfox. I mean, granted, just the amount of people on the roster, you would expect to see some interesting things coming out of there because they're just, it's just a numbers game, really. But there is, in this current lineup we see in the game, a lot of talent.
We had the idea a little bit too late, but if we could have brought one of those bingo machines on here and just put player names on it for Skyfox, like, all right, what's it going to be? And, we go through about 40 ping pong balls, and eventually we find our roster. But, that's not the case. Obviously, I think Skyfoxes does have an idea for what they want to run. I'd assume that they would keep the support line no matter what. So it's not quite chaos, but, we got to poke a little bit of fun. That was a really big roster.
I mean, it's like organized chaos. And really, that's when you look at a team environment, that's all it is organized chaos. Yep. And we're going to be taking it here to Numbani's EP. And I think we're going to see, I know this is going to be a shocker, but I think we're going to see goats.
But it's Numbani first. This is the one time where you don't have to goats.
No, you don't have to goats, but it's a solid choice.
Yes.
You'll get pretty good return on investment. It's a safe bet.
For the record, by the way, guys, I do want to give my condolences to Mayhem Academy, where Mayhem Academy just got memed out of existence for daring to not play goats. It's like, but guys, it was effective on points. They proved that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and then we just see these comments like, guys, goats is the meta. It's like, chill out a little bit. Mayhem showed us some good stuff, I'd say.
Well, you got to be careful about what you take to social media with, CP. Got to be careful there. But we're going to be seeing Skyfoxes roll out to this first point, Numbani. And is that a Bastion I see with King?
That is Bastion. This is not a drill. And it was a drill, actually, in the very end. Because now we have King going so far, but I got news for you. It's not a goats composition.
No, it is not. It is that Farah Sombra, which we have seen Mayhem Academy use before, and it actually is very effective, I think, against these tank-heavy setups. Like we've talked about earlier, we really want to see them make space for these DPS players, let them farm their ults, and then look for an engage.
And it's putting a lot of pressure here on King, where, King almost getting taken down. Stan got very, very close. Winston pressure in the air, but, that's a good thing about verticality. Winston can't stay in the air very long.
And that is what the 1 in King's name stands for, is 1 HP, because he actually should have died there, but Stan 1 just didn't get that last little bit of Tesla damage.
That is really just thinking about branding way in advance. But Skyfox is going to move back in already. Both teams trading off pickups. Lucio gone. Zenyatta out of the fight. King, room to work with here. And this at times can favor the offense, but not so much on Numbani where the defensive spawns are close. And King is going to have to do this slow, tactical far retreat, especially after not getting that Zen.
Oh man, not getting that Zen is very big, and it's actually probably the best thing that could have happened for NRG on that point. But what I saw there was Stand 1, with the support of his backline, actually doing so much work for NRG on that. And Skyfoxes, I think, rushed into the engage a little too fast and didn't let their DPS players get their ults.
So now we go into the next fight. Obviously, we have Retzi here with the EMP, and this is something you play around. And also, we saw yesterday that Sombra and Pharah together, it's quite powerful, right? Where you can use the EMP to give the Pharah all the room in the world. And he already got Byron before the lights been turned out. Retzi's going to pile on, but King's down! The EMP comes out right as King gets picked off. However, enough damage has likely been done here.
Yeah, absolutely. Stand 1 could still delay this point enough to where Byron could come back with that trance, and it could still be winnable here for NRG, but that's a very big play.
Stand finds Retzi in the end. Retzi wasn't able to translocate out. It was on cooldown. And suddenly, NRG, with respawns coming back in, they very well could do this, but it's going to be very scrappy. We see Skyfoxes throwing everything, including the kitchen sink. They have a Transcendence, but NRG, they're coming back in with the Transcendence of their own. They're delaying it out. They pick up 2 more. And NRG now on the way to bring this back. It was unlikely, but Stand 1 was the one who made the way.
And that was really well played from NRG there. They were even though Byram died early with that trance, Stand 1 was able to delay, the team itself was able to sustain long enough in the point for Byram to come back, and Skyfoxes just didn't get the value that they needed out of that push.
It just wasn't what they were looking for. Now NRG working with a very dominant defensive advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. With this grab, with this Diva Bomb, and also with a beat, they're in a very, very good position here. And Skyfox is looking to take it in, I think, the worst possible approach, top right.
Well, Kevster is going to land the grab, looked into the belly of the beast, and did not blink. Remix going to fall, and NRG just easy cleanup off the grab coming in there, and that's going to be enough. Skyfox is now down to the final minute on their own map choice.
And it looks like NRG is wanting to get these frags out. No, they're actually going to back up. They don't have that mobility right now to chase. They don't have any DPS characters like Tracer, but that was really well done from NRG. And Skyfoxes, I would like to see them take a different approach, maybe bring it to point, because brawling on that top high ground is exactly what NRG wants.
The problem for Skyfoxes here is that they've now had to change to a goat-style composition late in the battle. They don't have the ults that they would like to get here, so they're going to need some crazy hero play to somehow turn this around. NRG, they're not going to let them do that. They're going to go highly aggressive with the Sound Bear. They get Snow as a result, and they just take the fight to the Skyfoxes. And now Avast, I'm not even sure they have time.
No, this is actually not what Skyfoxes wanted at all. They're forcing the rally out very late as well. They got value out of that beat, and on top of that, they're just keeping them in the spawn. NRG has been playing so well on this map, and they've been exploiting, I think, the hesitation of Skyfox. It's
been very dominant. Now, of course, we do have another round of play to go here, even with a full hold, but it's looking like Skyfoxes, they're not going to get anything here, so that means they're going to be playing for the draw as we go into the next round, and NRG just playing a very, very competent defense here. They were able to recover from some big setbacks, and that man right there, Stand 1, just very good at how he's dealt with it. We're just seeing the last gasp here come in for the Skyfoxes, but it's very likely not going to be enough.
Yeah, this should be it. The presence is so strong for NRG. There's the grab on the corpse of Retzi, and they're going to be cleaning up these frags here on the point. There's the Diva Bomb, and that should be the end of the fight.
Yeah, that's going to be it. So NRG looking very, very good here. And look, there were question marks about NRG where, you know, as we kind of talked about before in the storyline of, well, you know what, your main tank got poached. That's a contender's dream, right? You want your players to go to the Overwatch League, but for the people that are left behind, you just sort of go, well, that guy was so good, he got picked up for OWL, and now we got to replace him. That can be scary, but so far, Stand 1, he's been good.
He's been a great stand-in.
Yeah.
One could say.
Yeah, he lives up to his name in more ways than one.
Absolutely. And I think NRG played that very, very well on that first point. And Skyfoxes, if they had made a couple minor adjustments to their pushes, they definitely could have exploited some of the holes that they made, but it still seems like, as we talked about earlier, aggression is so key in GOATS comps, and I'm not seeing enough aggression of Skyfoxes.
I would also say is that you want to think back to key moments that really decided the fate of that attack. Is there was a moment where Skyfox is coming in with a tremendous advantage, right? King gets the early pickoff, but to get that early pickoff, he overextended so much. Retzi wasn't ready with the EMP yet. Retzi drops the EMP just about at the time that King ends up falling. So instead of getting that really juicy situation where Pharah is able to shoot at people that can't use mobility to get away, that can't really counterattack effectively, instead your Pharah's gone, so they don't get as much off that EMP, and even though they were winning the fight, it was nowhere near as good as it could have been if that EMP had come in a little bit earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. And using that Sombra Pharah composition, the team revolves around the EMP and the barrage, and pretty much it's all of its aspects. And so it was integral there to time the EMP with the aggression of your team, and it seemed like a little miscommunicated there between Skyfoxes, but they could still hold and get a draw on this map.
Okay, and now you take a look at the other side where the Skyfoxes are going to be highly aggressive here, and this is a sort of shenanigans you have to pull out. You have to go for the trick plays. It's like when you're down by 30 points of football in the fourth. You got to get crazy, and they do. They take down Byram immediately. The ambush, successful, and now, after they get the second pickoff, they need to back out. They've already lost one, so you do this, but sometimes you got to know when to get out.
Yeah, absolutely. That is what they wanted, but they're losing players late on this stagger, and NRG is going to chase them to the point. Stand 1, putting up that aggression, and this has actually turned kind of sour for Skyfoxes.
It absolutely has, and I mean, the problem there is you had to get out earlier. Now NRG, they just take a precedence to the point, and Zombs just has to sacrifice his Diva mech. Skyfoxes in a very, very tough spot here. It's quickly going against them, and NRG, this is going to be it. They are going to take this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And what looked like a great position for Skyfoxes, taking that early fight, trying to get the draw, instead they just got chased out, they overcommitted, and they lost too many players in that fight. I like the ingenuity. I did not like how deep they went.
Look, I mean, there's an age-old saying in online games, and it goes way before Overwatch, right? Greed makes feed, and that was greedy there towards the end. You got one pick off, just let it go, back up, you're good. You've done your ambush. When you stay in there that long, their spawn's right there, and it just wasn't going to work out.
Yeah, absolutely. It was well executed at the beginning, but then sadly they overextended, they lost players, they had the time to get out, and like I said, it just comes down to those pretty much those micro plays. They don't want to be losing people that late. And I think right here we saw NRG just flow onto the point because of that late time feed, essentially, from Skyfoxes.
Yeah, I mean, the highlight here is we've put everyone on the point, and Toms goes, you know I'm just going to die hitting the point, right? And it's like, yeah, we know. You still got to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when Rally is out. Rally is so strong in coming back to those recontests because you're fast, you're getting armor. The Brig can just be a brawler. You can just roll people.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things where you take a look at Brigitte, it's like, yeah, support hero, right? Also, sometimes very much DPS. You ever see a nano Brig? That's scary.
It is actually very scary. I have nightmares.
Yeah, rightly so. I mean, you just think, oh, it's just a nano support. Is it a boostio? No, it's Brigitte. It's actually pretty scary. And speaking of scary, this man right here absolutely stand out to me going into this, where this is about the play where NRG was able to change the course of the body, right? This fight was not going well for them there, even with the early pick off of the King, even with the EMP misplay. The tide was against them, and Stand was able to bring it right back.
Yeah, I agree. Stand won was really, really good on Numbani first. He put disruption where he needed disruption. He put up frags where he needed to put frags, and he chased when he needed to chase. I think he was so solid. He was an integral part in why they held that first point, because he was able to survive long enough to bring Byron back in that one really bad fight, and I think he just played really well.
It was really cool to see. But guys, we still have another half of Overwatch to play. The Skyfoxes roster definitely topped with talent. Can they make a comeback? We're going to find out after the break.